you want something to be delivered, but logistics companies are just too expensive a solution, or they can't deliver your item right when you want it? Well, one app delivers the best solution right to your doorstep and right in time. I'm RJ Ledesma, and tonight's bright idea is Transportify. A business is not just about offering a good product or service. It's also about getting that product or service to your client right on time. And sometimes, that is what can make or break your business. That's precisely the issue that the people behind Transportify are trying to address. And we're here with the very dapper co-country heads of Transportify here in the Philippines. We have over here Paolo Bengson and of course Noel Abelardo. Guys, thanks so much for coming here on Bright Ideas. Now, let me just, well, it's great to have you guys. What a great, fun concept. I'm sure this is something I can use in the near future, your services. But I'd like just to find out. So Transportify isn't a Philippine startup, but rather it's a startup that was brought in the region. Can you explain a bit more about Transportify?
Transportify is a company that started in Thailand.
Okay.
We launched operations in Thailand. We're in Thailand, Indonesia, and now more recently the Philippines.
Okay.
In terms of ownership, we're owned by Inspire Ventures, which is a company that builds startups. So we're just one of the companies in their portfolio. It's owned by Americans, so we're an American startup that only operates in Southeast Asia.
Very, very interesting story. And what exactly was the pain point that they were trying to address, and why particular here in Southeast Asia? Were they looking for, developing country issues and problems which they could solve in logistics? Was that really it?
I guess they were looking for problems that they could solve and address. And Southeast Asia being a more emerging market than the rest of the world, they figured that it's much better to launch here and to understand what the main problem is with regard to logistics.
So what is the pain point that they saw originally when they set it up in Thailand, the first country? What did they see?
Well, the main problem that they were having is that there's just a lack of an on-demand service when it comes to deliveries or logistics. Most of traditional logistics companies rely on having their own fleet or outsourcing with a third-party service provider, which can be very, very expensive.
Okay.
So that was one of the main points that we wanted to address in our market in Thailand.
Okay, now moving forward, so they started this off in Thailand. I guess that was their quote-unquote test case. Was that how they saw how they saw Thailand, or did the problem emerge in Thailand?
Among big cities in Southeast Asia, in terms of logistical problems, they share pretty much the same characteristics. So you take it from one main city like Bangkok to Jakarta to Manila, the problems are fairly similar.
So I guess what they were really looking at is something that they could scale using Thailand as their sort of model for emerging countries, which many people do. They either use Thailand or any of the ASEAN countries.
I think the expansion, the way we expanded was a bit more rapid. We figured out what worked in Thailand, and once we saw that there was a market for this, we expanded to Indonesia.
So you didn't kind of wait until the business became a bit more mature?
No, not really. It's our business becomes other people would see the opportunity we.
So in other words, it's a first to market before somebody else can take that opportunity.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised at how many competitors came up very quickly in Indonesia.
Now the question is, when you finally set up here in the country Transportify, tell us a bit more about how is it like, especially this is a startup, you're competing against the bigger boys in logistics. How hard was it to get some traction in the market when you started Transportify?
Specifically for me, because I started as a business development manager, during that time we had no product yet to launch. We were still in our pre-launch stage. So, in fact, my first day, I was trained in Jakarta. So I spent a week in Jakarta learning everything that I can with how they do it, how is the business, and understanding the bigger picture of how they market the services. And it took a few more months before we were actually ready to launch. And it was a very exciting time for us. We were, of course, I remember those days when we were trying to source out clients and We were trying to look for people who would want to avail.
How did you convince people? How did you actually convince people to avail of your services if you were a startup?
We started I started with SMEs.
Okay.
Like with small, medium-sized enterprise.
Sort of like a low-hanging fruits who need the cheaper, affordable logistics, whatever happens.
That's how I started approaching.
So you have definitely this pool of people who absolutely are in pain. They're your early adopters.
Okay.
They'll give you a shot. I mean, there were some people that were texting Noah, when are you going to launch? When are you going to launch? Even before we launched, we were already doing our sales. You typically find the smaller businesses come on earlier, and you'll find the people that need to move house online.
Okay.
So like, hey, move your house.
So there's actually a demand of mga low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
That's what's actually ready for you guys right now. And now we got a better idea of the fleet. Now, but how about the client side? You guys have been operating here for about a year now, right? So more or less, can you give us an idea of the size or the scale of the number of clients that you guys have right now?
Well, since we first started last year, I think we've serviced about over 10,000 different clients already. That ranges from small entrepreneurs all the way to big enterprise clients and big box retailers, and as well as individuals who need just even anything move. So we pick up and deliver anything and almost everything.
And let's say every day, how many new inquiries do you get? Because I'm presuming that a lot of these are actually repeat clients, especially if they're SMEs or big businesses.
Yeah. On a daily, weekly basis, we actually get a ton of inquiries about our services. They either find us through our Facebook, through our social media accounts, and even our website. So we receive so many calls just asking about our services.
I'd say if we come up with concrete numbers as to new customers we have every day, it's in the hundreds. Like, let's just say between 250 to 500.
Guys, I can feel your enthusiasm and see how much you want to go Transportify here in the Philippines. I want to know your secret sauce, but let's find out more about that after the break. In this age where almost everything can be booked online, a simplified and of course digital delivery booking system is definitely the thing to watch out for. And we're back with Paolo and Noel, who are going to Transportify us behind the scenes to see what happens with the secret sauce of this startup. Now, let's start off first of all with people who are a bit more entrepreneurial minded and want to actually become part of the fleet of Transportify. How does that work?
Our funnel for recruitment and onboarding starts with us convincing a driver to apply.
Okay.
We do this a lot through several channels. The main one is Facebook. Those ads you see that, hey, make
So
some money
sponsored
during
posts,
your free
the
time.
sponsored posts.
Yes,
Okay.
sponsored posts, word of mouth from our current fleet. And then, believe it or not, we have people going out there giving flyers at certain places where we would like to recruit on purpose.
I see.
Right? So, not everyone with a high ace van, for example, is always on Facebook. So you need to really get in front of them and give them a physical flyer sometimes. So once they're interested, they apply. And with their application, they have to give a lot of requirements. And through those requirements, we vet them out as to which one.
Like NBI clearance,
Yes.
I'm guessing the model of the car is important. Is there a
Yes.
specific year that they can only start?
We're not as sensitive to the year model, but we physically inspect every vehicle that comes in
Okay.
to make sure they look okay. Since we don't move passengers, you're less sensitive to the look and you're more sensitive to the real reliability of that vehicle.
Okay.
If you just see if it's not well maintained, then it would pose a risk to the actual execution of the delivery.
Okay.
So we do a physical inspection, and then when they come inside to our office, we do a training. This training lasts just 6 to 8 hours long.
Okay.
They'll have to learn how to execute all the features and products that we offer that Noel's going to discuss. There's different products we offer, like our plain vanilla delivery, extra services, outside of our general service area, rental. So all of that they have to learn, and we test them at the end. And what we do is the passing grade is very high, so a lot of drivers actually fail and have to retake. We don't allow them to leave our training without knowing what they need to know to execute the delivery.
Okay. Now, in terms of the compensation package, what more or less can a driver earn when he's part of the fleet?
It depends how available the drivers are. So let's just take a full-time driver as an example. On average, they would make about 50 to 100,000 gross.
So let's say on an average ride, how much can a driver make on that one ride, more or less? Let's say for an SME, he's doing a delivery, doing one delivery, more or less, how much would he make?
If we're talking gross figures, it really depends on the vehicle classes they're driving. Like a truck would make more than a van, and a van would make more than an SUV.
Okay, so let's just say, for example, I have a van. How much would I make for an SME?
So the driver would make about 1,300 to 1,500 per booking.
Per booking?
Yeah, per booking. And so he might be able to do about 2 to 4 of those in a day.
And does it matter how big whatever he's got to deliver is, or it doesn't matter what size or the quantity that he delivers?
It doesn't matter what size. Basically, the customer is the one that picks the right vehicle for himself.
I see.
We offer a guideline to the customers when it comes to our load, or the amount of the volume, the height, the weight, the size. So
Now, so we know what's happening with the drivers. Let's find out what's happening in terms of the customer. So let's see a demo. Let's see a demo of how Transportify works. Sure. So what I want to see right now is basically, if I was signing up for Transportify, okay, I'm coming across for the first time. I've got an SME, I've got Mercato. I go, okay, I want to deliver to one of my clients. Okay.
So as you know, we offer our services to anybody.
Okay.
So that means it can be individuals or businesses. So for businesses, specifically for businesses, we have what we call a business program. Now, this is exclusively designed to cater to a lot of our business.
Okay.
Now, what the main difference is, there are features in our individual app when you're using your individual login compared to businesses. It's very different in the sense that this is technically very, again, designed just for
businesses.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, it's very easy to use it. So you simply, on page 1, you actually just put where your pickup is.
Okay.
All right. So let's say, and if your app is GPS enabled, of course, it'll detect your location immediately. But you can simply add the location, the name of the restaurant, or the name of the building.
Right now in Nacional?
Yeah. You can simply type
your office in Ortigas?
Yes, our office in Ortigas.
Okay.
Transportify Philippines. All right. And then here, you can choose the vehicle classes. After you've picked the vehicle that you want, you can actually choose from 3 different timing options. Our economy class vehicles ranges from hatchback sedans to SUVs and MPVs. Now, there are times where a client specifically just needs a bigger space.
And so it depends on whether or not, if this will be an individual, he pays that amount directly to the driver. Correct. And then how do you collect your amount? How do you collect your compensation from the individual?
So what we do is that, again, we charge the driver a fee. It's our commission, it's our take for the services that we provide along.
So what portion, where do you collect that?
One of our features in our driver app, actually, so what you're seeing right now is our customer app. Our driver app has a wallet, right? So they have a balance that they have to top up. And every time they accept a cash booking, well, that's what we call it, their balance decreases by the amount of commission that they owe us.
So that's basically your Gcash wallet. You're taking from the Gcash wallet the money that goes to them. Okay,
and
I get
so
what you mean.
Once it reaches 0, their driver app shuts down and they can no longer accept bookings.
So they just have to keep on replenishing the Gcash wallet they have for the driver
That,
app.
or they actually can take business bookings
Okay.
to replenish it.
Very interesting. Looks like that you guys are doing pretty well. You've got thousands of deliveries per day. You've got a fleet of at least 3,000 drivers here in the Philippines, and I'm presuming growing even more and more. Yeah. But the bigger question is, are you guys making money? And we will find that out right after the break. Filipinos have a natural propensity to try something unique and lucrative. But just how does Transportify gain traction in a world dominated by the big guys of the logistics industry. And we are with Diane Yap, the owner and founder of Vitalya. So before you came across Transportify, what was your business model in sending flowers to your clients?
Being an online flower shop, our only mode of delivering the flowers to our clients was through deliveries. Before, we were using motorcycles, car rentals, but then they were inefficient. We never really had peace of mind with delivering our flowers, considering the weather that we have here in Manila. It's pretty hot.
Okay.
We had some problems with the quality of the flowers when we use motorcycles.
They get broken, I guess, or they
Yeah, they
must
will.
see that? Oh, yeah, they will.
Heat.
Okay, I see.
So the best way was to use cars. However, like for example, come Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, we get hundreds of deliveries for one day, and we wouldn't have enough cars for that. We heard about Transportify through the internet. It was actually after our previous courier partner announced that they were closing down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
That's stressful, huh?
yeah, and we had to look for an alternative immediately. That's when we found Transportify. It's actually a blessing in disguise that the previous logistics partner closed down, because that's what led us to finding Transportify. And since then, we never had problems with our logistics. Transportify has really tremendously helped our company grow. I mean, one day our problem was to deliver our goods from our warehouse based in Parañaque to Quezon City. But when Transportify came in the picture, now we even do deliveries up to Laguna, Cavite, Bulacan.
Okay. So they've really helped you extend your reach.
Yes.
And it's much better not to bring it in-house, but rather just to outsource it to people who can do it
Yes.
best.
One more thing that we really like about Transportify is that they have their own protocols. So once the driver gets to our office, they take pictures and then they ask us to sign it. That picture will be the proof for just in case something happens to our goods. All our flowers are actually insured. So whenever any kind of problem arises, it's so easy to talk to them. We just call their customer service and they're there right away.
You've got Paolo and Noel to answer the most important question on the show. And the question is, are you making money? But before that, guys, let's take a step back first. And let's take a look at the logistics industry that you're currently working here in the Philippines. I'm sure that when you came in, many of the bigger logistics companies took note of you guys coming in. So what's competition like for you guys?
Right now, we're still under the radar. They're not noticing us because the need we're fulfilling is still a bit that territory which they haven't been able to fulfill and which might be too flexible for their current business model.
But even at that point, aren't some of them taking notice and saying, hey, these guys might eventually encroach on our territory? Have you felt that sort of musing or maybe some sort of movements from the larger companies trying to adjust to people like you?
In fact, we have partnered with a lot of them. They realized that we can actually be one of their fourth party.
So you're sort of like, they're co-opting you. You're co-optation, in other words.
They became our customers, and we cater to their, especially when they have less than truckload deliveries or overfills and all that. So,
But when they do that one, the branding which they use is their branding and not your branding.
well, we don't actually brand our vehicles. Well, we have some for marketing purposes, but generally our vehicles are brandless.
So when it just comes there, whoever just has it delivered was the person who had it, or a company who had it delivered to them.
Correct.
And I'm sure in your current space, there are also competitors who are the same, let's say, scale, size, or cater to the same market which you guys cater to. How are they in terms of competition? I'm sure they're just as aggressive.
So in terms of people with the same operating model as ours, we have one local player who was there, who launched slightly before us. And in terms of scale, we're much bigger already, just because of their operating model is more asset heavy, wherein they own their own vehicles, and they have a few partners. We've learned how to scale a long time ago from our days in Thailand and
I guess
and
we're taking the
Indonesia.
lessons from there and saying, okay, this is the best way to scale the business
Yeah.
forward. What is your particular vision? Where do you see Transportify maybe 5 years from now here in the country?
In the Philippines, we're looking to obviously expand to more cities, to more
Right now, the
service
coverage is
areas.
just Metro Manila, am I right?
We cover Metro Manila and surrounding areas.
So Greater Manila, Cavite,
Yeah, up to
Tagaytay.
Laguna, Bulacan,
Oh, okay.
and all those areas. But in fact, our business model allows us to pick up or deliver to any point in Luzon. Yeah, we do have that product that can cater to certain needs of certain clients.
Okay, and then how about when you take a look at the regional model? Basically, are you being bootstrapped over here right now? Meaning all the money is coming from your mother company to support the business here in the Philippines.
Right now, yes, and we have our company Inspire, and there's another investor. If you view our website, you'll see it's Ardent. And we're going to do another fundraising round soon.
And the fundraising is on the total company level, not just Transportify here, but rather Transportify across the Philippines, Indonesia, and Bangkok. And so where does the owner see Transportify in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, we're definitely going to expand. First, we're going to achieve profitability by next year, especially for our core markets. And then within the Philippines, definitely to the second-tier cities, and we probably are going to launch new services like long-haul routes, which are bigger routes, like let's say Metro Manila Baguio, Metro Manila.
So if anybody's going to go vacation in Baguio, you might as well just bring some of the delivery items all the way up to Baguio.
Right.
Of course, maintaining that very high service level, we engage a lot of customers even more. So those sometimes those customers who would try us out for 1 or 2 bookings, after experiencing what we can do to them or we can do for them and help them, they tend to grow their business with us.
So in other words, what you plan to do to really build a business is drive a lot more of repeat purchase, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, aside from that one, what else are you doing to ensure that you're driving the business even further? Aside from larger share of pocket and more repeat businesses, how do you plan to really expand the business here in the Philippines?
Well, one, there's new markets, so new cities for which our overhead can be allocated, like our call center. There's stuff we can do centrally, a lot of our systems. There's the new feature sets are going to be big, so we're moving from bookings that go from like 1,500 to bookings that cost 10,000, like across Luzon. We're looking at other services which are more value add. Let's say we really customize a service for someone, and that client becomes very sticky, and then
Just like Vitalya.
yes,
Earlier, okay.
yes, exactly. So they'd have specific requirements that only our drivers would be able to follow, and we'd align other processes within their business, not aside from the delivery.
So in other words, you guys become ingrained again. We need
Yeah.
you because particularly you know our demands and specs
Yes,
for what to be able to deliver our flowers on time
Correct.
and not wilted or things like
And
that.
even the technology, we are capable of doing API integration. So, I mean, working on that system with another system helps grow the business even more because there's just a lot of benefits doing that.
To be honest, we've only touched the tip of the iceberg. I mean, if we're talking low-hanging fruit, we've hit the lowest of the low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of the market is so big that we actually have to grow our sales team just because there's too many leads coming in that we need to close.
And I'm very eager. I hope to be one of your leads in the near future. I'm enrolling my other car and the driver here after this show is done. Again, guys, thank you so much for the time.
you very much.
Good luck to Transportify.
Okay, thank you very much,
And
RJ.
looking to have you hauling more stuff around the country. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Logistics is one of the major problems that every entrepreneur must address. But with a trusted logistics arm like Transportify, entrepreneurs can now take on the world on demand. My name is RJ Ledesma. Join me again next week for another Bright Idea.